twist to the introduction of the lineups here at the Garden, complete with laser light effects. And we have double coverage on the sidelines. We're joined today by Ahmad Rashad and Hannah Storm. Let's start with Ahmad.
All right, Marv. Well, everybody's talking about Jordan Pippen. The player that the Bulls have been talking about is B.J. Armstrong, who has really stepped it up a notch this entire playoff season. I asked B.J. about it. He said, you know, it's all about the challenge, and I realize I've stepped up to it. But in order for us to be successful, I got to take my game up another notch to get by the Knicks. And as far as Michael Jordan is concerned, he was shooting before the game. His wrist is fine. Hannah?
The only serious injury on the Knicks side, Ahmad, has been Doc Rivers, who was suffering back spasms during that Charlotte series, but he told me he saw an acupuncturist on Friday, and he feels just fine. As for the mood of the team, John Starks confirmed what Mike said earlier. These guys were uptight before the start of the playoffs, but now that they've gotten to the point where they want to be, they're relaxed, and as several of the players said, ready to rumble. Marv?
All right, Hannah, and the officials who will be supervising the alleged rumbling: Jake O'Donnell, Bennett Salvatore, and Hugh Holland. You just have the feeling that Jake O'Donnell would get the nod in Game 1 because you have to feel that he will try to set the tone.
The feeling is that Jake O'Donnell, with the experience and great feel for the game, will keep things under control. I just hope they don't take away too much of the aggressiveness early in the game by either team.
The Knicks controlling the opening tip. Starks. But John Starks opens by hitting the long-range jump shot.
We see the initial matchup of B.J. Armstrong on John Starks and Michael Jordan playing Doc Rivers. Now, Phil Jackson said yesterday that B.J. actually plays John Starks pretty well. I don't believe that. I think he doesn't want Jordan coming off all those screens.
Well, Jordan came off a pick and hit a three-pointer to open matters for the Bulls. Here's Starks for three. And it's rebounded by Smith. Charles Smith in a matchup with Scottie Pippen at the start. Rivers for Ewing. Yes. The Knicks 4 and the Bulls 3.
And that time, Chicago had switched their defensive assignments as New York comes up with the steal.
Doc Rivers met on a switch by Horace Grant. Charles Oakley. Rebound snatched by Ewing. And on a reach, and a foul is called on Jordan.
We talked about Michael Jordan coming off screens and getting open looks at the basket. That's one thing that Pat Riley and his defense preached in their practice sessions. Don't give Michael clear looks. Make him put it down on the floor. Then we'll give help when needed.
Crowd responding. They wanted another foul on Jordan as Rivers was able to pry loose. You'll also notice Michael playing with the sprained wrist. When he goes for the steal, is using the left hand. He just came up with it. And Jordan fires. Jordan looking to get off quickly here at the start. The Knicks 4 and the Bulls 3. We are just underway. Rivers on a pull-up. And it's rebounded by Grant. Now Pippen met on a switch by Oakley.
You see a lot of transition game right now, not too much half-court offense. That's the energy and excitement of beginning this series with these two outstanding teams. Normally, we know that Chicago likes to start out with Cartwright down low.
Charles Smith, who has come on strong recently, able to convert. Charles Smith played an important role the last two games against Charlotte. Game 5, 18 points, 8 rebounds. Here's Grant. It's been a jump shooting contest here at the start. The Knicks 6, the Bulls 3. Oakley gets inside, and he is called for the foul.
Oakley knew that he had his defender on his back. He was in the lane a long time before the ball finally got to him. He knows it's close to a 3-second violation. Grant can do nothing but hold his position, but the feel is that the left arm of Oakley is what threw Grant to the ground. Therefore, the offensive foul was called.
The Chicago Bulls, the second best road team in the league, behind Phoenix, 26 and 15 during the regular season. Cartwright got position, and he drew the foul. It's on Rivers, who tried to help out. Bill Cartwright, the one-time New York Knick, acquired in the trade for Charles Oakley. Cartwright, the last couple of years, has been hit hard by injury. Over the years as a member of the Bulls, he had played very well against Patrick Ewing because he's been able to force Ewing off the blocks. It's only in recent times that Ewing has had good ball games against Cartwright.
And let's face it, Bill Cartwright has not played the same minutes this past season as he's been used to playing in previous years. He's up now in the playoffs as he's feeling better. And that was good time management by Phil Jackson and his staff during the regular season, understanding they had to have a healthy Bill Cartwright ready for the playoffs if they were going to make a run.
Well, a first look at the Chicago trap, and a turnover is the end result. Jordan on the pull-up. Yes.
Let's go back to Christmas Eve when Chicago was down 10 points at halftime. In the first 2 minutes and 17 seconds of the third quarter, it was a tie score. 5 possessions for New York, 4 turnovers produced.
Another steal, this time Grant putting the move on Oakley. A gorgeous ball fake by Horace Grant, who has come up hobbling. Grant is hurt. He comes in with a sprained right ankle, and he has hobbled his way back. Play continues, though. Chicago needs a timeout. Another turnover by the Knicks. Five turnovers committed by the Knicks here in the early moments, and a timeout has been called.
Horace Grant, who came in with a very bad right ankle, takes the pass in transition, and then as he takes off and comes down, it's the right ankle that catches the brunt of the force of hitting the floor with the weight on it. It was a very, very bad sprain. Hopefully the time off had given him a chance to recover, but it's obvious here he will play with a very bad ankle in this series.
Horace Grant injured the ankle in game 1 of the series against the Cavaliers, and he comes up hobbling right there off that beautiful move with the ball fake on Oakley.
In talking with Phil Jackson yesterday, it's an unusual sprain, and the swelling was in an unusual spot.
All right, let's go over to Ahmad.
All right, Marv, I just spoke with Horace. He said what happened was he got kicked on that sprained ankle, which is very painful, but he's still able to go. Marv?
He's trying to walk it off as he gets the ball and pitches it back out. Bulls with a 9-6 lead. Here's Pippen. And Cartwright rebounds. 5 turnovers committed by the Knicks. Here are the early moments. Jordan gets inside. Ewing with the rebound. Pippen knocked it away. Another Knick turnover. Jordan for Pippen. And he's fouled by Ewing.
Let's go back to that Cleveland game where Horace Grant was originally injured, and you can see the severity of this. The ankle turns completely over the right ankle as he comes down on top of Mike Sanders' ankle. It turns over. He goes down immediately. The swelling took place more in the back of the ankle than on the side. Back of the ankle, bottom of the heel part. Again, same ankle injured here early in this game.
Scottie Pippen being settled down here by Michael Jordan. He shot only 66% from the foul line during the regular season. Hits 1 out of 2. The Bulls 10, the Knicks 6. Now some light pressure. Grant hanging back.
Chicago will vary the pressure, vary the traps, trying to keep New York off balance. They understand that New York has prepared for this. They want to give them different looks to keep them guessing.
And Ewing fouled, a hard foul given by Bill Cartwright. 7-0 run by the Bulls for a 4-point Chicago lead.
You don't want to let him continue with that shot. So after Cartwright feels the body contact, he reaches up with the right hand, grabs Ewing on the wrist so that he cannot follow through and get a continuation call on the shot attempt.
Bill Cartwright and Patrick Ewing had a very close friendship while both were members of the New York Knicks. They recall it goes back to the Hubie Brown coaching days, where at one point the Knicks tried to go with the combination of Cartwright at center and Ewing as the power forward. Did not work. Ewing did not want to be a power forward, although upon occasion he has done it successfully under Pat Riley, but he felt he was not comfortable, and it led to the trade of Cartwright.
But in fact, later on, when Rick Pitino became head coach, did not they go with two big people at times on the floor? So it was the willingness then of Patrick Ewing as he matured and grew as a player, and understanding that sometimes you have to do some things that you may not think you feel most comfortable with for the good of the team.
All right, the Bulls with a 10-7 lead. The first chant of defense from the crowd is Grant hits from outside. The Bulls have done it from outside, and they lead 12-7. Ewing forced out, not able to get position, and a foul is called. It's Cartwright on a push.
The last foul, Ewing caught Cartwright down low, close to the basket. Now he wants to make him move his feet. Turn, face up, put it on the floor, make Bill move those feet. He cannot stay with a younger, quicker Patrick Ewing.
Make it be a foul.
Patrick Ewing averaging 25 points in the playoffs, shooting at 50% from the field. And now Phil Jackson with a substitution. Will Purdue will come on for Bill Cartwright.
I was wondering who Phil was going to go with, whether it would be Scott Williams first to give them a very, very quick basketball team on the floor, or Will Purdue to give them size against Patrick Ewing. In talking yesterday with Phil, he mentioned that Scott Williams is going to be my guy that I have to plug into more than just one spot if we're going to be successful.
Smith able to get to it. Yes. Charles Smith with a second field goal. The Bulls lead by 2. Will Purdue has had several outstanding games against the Knicks. Did not play much in the series against the Cavaliers. Pippen got the step. And Smith is on the ball.
As is the case against New York's defense, the best defense in the NBA. When you drive the lane, it closes down quickly. You don't get an easy look at the front of the rim.
Starks looking for the quick release, and it poked away. Shot clock is down to 6. Down to 3. Ewing has to force. Yes. The game is tied at 12. Patrick Ewing with his second field goal. Armstrong for Grant. And here's B.J. Armstrong. Grant on the recovery. And that's a traveling violation. Horace Grant called for steps. Timeout taken. 6:13 remaining. First quarter. The Knicks and Bulls even at 12. The series, and Bill Cartwright feels that Patrick Ewing has been getting the benefit of the doubt in recent years. We've talked about it with Bill.
A little drop step, little hop, 2 or 3 hops, but seemingly that's what happens. Guys are able to get away with certain moves, and seemingly Shaq has kind of picked up that too, where you're able to get that little extra hop in your drive or in your move.
Do you complain about it to the officials?
Yeah, we complained about it. We pointed out, but seemingly after you do it for a few years, referees look at it like, hey, that's kind of his move, no matter if it's walking or not. So, but he gets away with it.
Bill obviously getting ready for a coaching career down the road, trying to get a small edge, gain that edge however you can in the playoffs, just like Phil Jackson and Pat Riley.
As Bill Cartwright has made the point a number of times that Ewing does get away with a travel. Here's the move by Ewing. He was pushed, yes, and it counts. Great collapse on Ewing as he released. The basket counts, and he'll go to the line.
The Bulls know that Ewing has a reputation of not being a good passer out of double teams or even triple teams. So come at him hard. 1, 2, 3, Bulls. Bottom of the net for Patrick.
Foul on Will Purdue. 3-point play by Ewing. The Knicks in the midst of an 8-0 run. Ewing off to the fast start with 9 points. And the Knicks with a 15-12 advantage halfway through the first quarter. Grant trying to get it to Purdue.
It's one of the few times thus far that the Bulls have gotten into their half-court offense, and then they come right back with the steal. Pippen leading the way to B.J. for the jumper.
7 turnovers committed by the Knicks, and that has killed them here in this first quarter.
In that last time out, Ahmad overheard the coaches telling Chicago, get back in our half-court offense, the triangle offense, make the Knicks defense work, don't take those hurried shots.
Now Nice play by Armstrong, but a foul was called. BJ got a piece of the ball, but also a piece of Oakland.
One thing you tell teams, when you make a mistake at the offensive end, hustle back on defense and make up for it at the defensive end. Make something good happen. Pippen makes something good happen with the steal over to BJ. The transition score, something Chicago wouldn't mind the whole afternoon, getting in the open floor with New York's defense rather than have to play against their setup half-court defense.
Will Perdue has been lifted. Stacey King has come on. Stacey in his 4th year out of Oklahoma. There he is, and he will now operate at the center position as Perdue sits down. The Knicks 15 and the Bulls 14. It has been an outstanding season for Charles Oakley, playing the best basketball of his NBA career. Misses on both. The tip by Smith will account. Jake O'Donnell with a loose ball foul call. The basket will not count.
The loose ball foul is called on Stacey King, and you can see him in the right-hand corner of your screen with both hands in the back as he was being blocked out. The shove by Stacey, therefore the loose ball foul.
And now Jake changed the call. He said, yes, the basket will count. Jake O'Donnell waving it off. So another change. Now the announcement, no basket.
The hands in the back. Stacey pushes Ewing, who beats him to the spot. It's clear. You can see it easy. It's a good call by Jake. And now the good thing is that he just wanted to get everything straightened out as to exactly how many points should be awarded, how many shots they get.
And the reaction by Phil Jackson, looking to the heavens.
Phil understands it will be a long series. No sense right now getting up and getting involved with the officials at this point.
The ball's over the limit, so Ewing went to the line, but he was not able to hit. Knicks with a 15-14 lead. They maintain possession off that back tap. And a 3-second violation called on the Knicks. That is turnover number 8.
Depending on which coaches you talk to, some of them will tell you that the most important factor in winning basketball games is rebounding. Well, you have the #1 and #2 rebounding teams in the NBA out here. Chicago's the best offensive rebounding team. New York the best defensive rebounding team. And then combined total rebounds, New York is 1, Chicago 2.
Pippen. Way off. Saved by Jordan. Shot clock at 4. Here's Pippen. Rebound King.
Second shot opportunities, offensive rebounds. That's what Chicago's best at.
Scottie Pippen is now 0 for 5. Remember that last regular season game here at the Garden between the Knicks and the Bulls. He could not get off. He was 2 of 16. Starks. Rebounded by Pippen. Armstrong spots up for 3. Yes. B.J. Armstrong, the NBA's top 3-point percentage shooter. He had a 45% clip during the regular season, and he's given the Bulls a 4-point lead. Look out. Both Jordan and Rivers hit the floor, and a foul call on Armstrong.
Extra effort from Michael Jordan. He sees the shot is short, then he just continues after it, saves it to his teammates, takes an official out on the way, but gives his team one more opportunity. Then defending against the pick and roll, he guesses right. The problem is the foul was taking place on the other side of the floor.
The Knicks are only 3 of 9 from the foul line. Armstrong called for that foul, his second. Well, Chicago's 7-0 run is stopped. That followed up on the Knicks' 8-0 run. And John Paxson has replaced B.J. Armstrong.
Talk about substituting and plugging in a piece. You remember the last 2 seasons, championships of Chicago. All you visualize is Paxson sliding to an open spot, knocking out open jumpers, 3-pointers at just the right moment. Well, B.J. Armstrong was plugged into that spot this year, and the productivity just about the same.
Michael Jordan. Look out, Jordan with another steal. And here's Jordan. Yes! Michael Jordan Jordan whipping by Patrick Ewing. And that is turnover number 9.
Michael Jordan is #1 in the NBA in steals. They love to hang around the backcourt and pick off the outlet passes. It's something you must emphasize to your team. Jordan, Pippen, Grant, all exceptional athletes get into those passing lanes and produce turnovers.
Ewing, air ball, Smith. Oakley with the rebound, went to the left hand. The Bulls 21, and the Knicks 18 as we come up on 3 minutes left, first quarter.
Well, you can see that Chicago has New York playing more at its tempo. Hurrying up, taking open jump shots, not what New York is noted for. They use time on the clock. They keep the scores low. They execute their offense.
Away from the ball, a holding foul called on Charles Smith. Timeout taken, 2:57 remaining in this first quarter. Michael Jordan off the steal, and Jordan has 7 points. We'll be right back. Geared New York Knicks have been low-key in that department. Phil Jackson, one of the Knicks' most notable critics of their aggressive style, actually had some nice words to say about them with tongue firmly in cheek.
Right now, they're almost Boy Scouts. In my book, they're really playing clean basketball. I thought, what they have, maybe 2 flagrant fouls against Charlotte in his 5-game series. That was very good. I don't know how many they had against Indiana. I think only 2 against Indiana. That's pretty mild for them, and I think that they really have turned their game around. I think Riley has caught their ear, and I think they understand that the league is serious about it, and the basketball is basketball. It's not rugby.
Still being quite complimentary, not quite the same as was written in the local newspapers about some of the discussions that had taken place, but that's Phil Jackson, the great ability to slide in and slide out of situations as he sees them develop.
I have a feeling the intensity of his points will pick up as the series progresses. Paxson called for the foul. So the Bulls now lead by 2. Well, there was one quote earlier this week, Phil saying we realize we can play through it. We can win. Not only is it accepted and condoned, talking about the Knicks style, but it's honored, referring to Pat Riley with that aggressive Knick playing style. Pat won Coach of the Year.
Phil, another one of the candidates for Coach of the Year, but coaches play mind games just like players play mind games, and if you can aggravate that guy on the other bench to where he's worrying more about that than concentrating on substitutions and defenses and plays, then it's an advantage for you.
Although, you know, I don't think Phil got any votes in that Coach of the Year battle. Scottie Pippen with his first field goal. He was in a very difficult position. Not that he cares about awards, but as he likes to say, as we mentioned earlier, they patched together. That's an illegal defense call for the first time. 57 wins and a very tough injury-hit season. And it's not the type of season that will garner Coach of the Year votes.
Well, he may not have gotten any votes, but he would have gotten some votes from me to be considered as one of those candidates, because he had a very half-court offense to perfection, and Mason can't do it, but Patrick Ewing does. Going back to Phil Jackson, he had to manage minutes for people that were injured. He had to look down the road at the long-range plan and trying to win a 3rd championship, not be concerned with regular season victories. He did it to perfection this year.
King, rather, Williams lost the dribble and then recovered, and a foul is called. It's a hold on Greg Anthony, who just checked in along with Anthony Mason. Coach of the Year voting. Pat Riley on top by 1 vote over Rudy Tomjanovich, followed by George Karl of Seattle.
Was your vote the difference in Pat Riley?
I did mention it. I did vote for Pat. Very tough choice, though. Jordan with the off-balance shot. And I mentioned that it was my vote that put him over the top. He said 31 other people made the same point. Oakley. Ewing. And back comes Pippen. Knicks able to get back, and Pippen slowed it down. King. And Starks going up from the crowd to pull it down.
One of the things that Chicago likes to do when New York brings Anthony and Starks, the smaller backcourt on the floor, they like to go to their post-up game. That time you saw Jordan down low. He was a feeder instead of a scorer, but they'll continue to go to it.
Nice look from Greg Anthony to locate the wide-open Anthony Mason. Knicks 24, the Bulls 23, 50 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Nice fake by Jordan. Yes, John Starks did well in not picking up the foul as he went for that feint. The Bulls by 1. Jordan has 9 on 4 of 8 from the field. Patrick Ewing leads the Knicks with 13 points. Here's Starks. Down to 20 seconds. The Bulls will hold for a final shot of this opening quarter. Down to 10 seconds. 5 seconds to go in the quarter. And Jordan fires off the mark, but a whistle for a foul. Offensive foul against Chicago. Illegal pick called on Pippen. That is his first, and the Bulls are very upset.
They say Scottie Pippen moved into the path of the defensive player, John Starks, as he was trying to set that screen. If it's at the last second and you jump out into that defender's path, then it's a good call. If he had time to react, then it's a bad call.
Anthony with that last second fling, and that's the end of the first quarter. Game 1 of this best of 7 Eastern final. Patrick Ewing coming up big at the start. 13 points and 7 rebounds. Turnovers hurting the Knicks, and Chicago leads by 1. Celebrity turnout here at the Garden. Dustin Hoffman, who goes back to the Knicks championship teams of the early 70s. Same for Woody Allen, who has been a regular along with Dustin. Bill Murray. And a yes, little popcorn goes on. Thank you so much. Georgetown's John Thompson checking out his former protege, Patrick Ewing. Tom Brokaw has also been a regular here at courtside. On to the second quarter. Marv Albert, Mike Fratello, Ahmad Rashad, and Hannah Storm from the Garden. Better than 19,000 on hand. Game 1 of the best of 7, and the Bulls lead by 1.
One good sign for New York is that they have gotten to the free throw line 13 times to the Bulls' 4 attempts during the regular season matchup. The Bulls wound up actually shooting just 8 more free throws in their 4 games against each other. The problem is that New York is just 6 out of 13 from the foul line.
Foul called on Anthony Mason. The Bulls going with a combination of Stacey King, Scott Williams, and Horace Grant up front. John Paxson, Michael Jordan in the backcourt. Starks on Jordan. Yes. Michael Line driving it home. He has 11. The Bulls lead by 3.
Although they executed that time and got into their half-court offense and got a good shot out of it, Chicago will continue to stress the open floor. Get out and run. That's how they took the lead early in the game, going up and down in transition. They don't like playing against New York's half-court set defense.
Starks. Well, there's no question that Michael Jordan respects the outside touch of John Starks. He has played him very tightly. Last year, I don't think that Jordan had the same kind of respect for Starks.
I think Starks realizes the aggressiveness that Jordan has come out with. That time, a violent, strong ball fake. He got Jordan to go by, took his time, stepped underneath, and got a good look at the basket.
Crowd wanted a charge. Here's Starks leading a 4-on-3, but Paxson effectively stopped the ball. Anthony and Starks at the guard. Ewing, Mason, Smith. Up front, here's Anthony. Bulls do not respect the outside touch on Greg Anthony. They will give him that shot. You heard the groans from the crowd as he began his release. Bulls have a 1-point lead. Minute and a half gone by in the second. Illegal defense call.
Let's go back to a minute ago. Both scoring guards, when they get the ball in the position that they want, Starks respecting that first step, backs up a little bit, so Michael Jordan knocks down the jumper. Then at the other end, the strong fake. Get him to go by you, step underneath, get a clean look. A little payback for John Starks.
And John Starks sits down. Rolando Blackman checks in. Michael Jordan thought he had a cutter along the baseline. Rolando Blackman has not received the playing time in the playoffs. He was the hero of Game 4 against Charlotte with that game-winning jump shot. 5 seconds to go. That was last Sunday afternoon. And here's Rolando getting right back to it. It has been an injury-hit season for the 33-year-old Rolando Blackman, who in his younger days was one of the toughest defenders. According to Michael Jordan, said he had more problems with Blackman than anyone else, but that goes back several years. Nice give and go of King for Grant, and the Bulls lead by 1.
There's part of the chess match that takes place when you prepare for your opponent. Chicago, realizing that New York likes to trap the pick and roll, had their players in specific spots. They took the double team strong, then with a little ball movement, wound up with a dunk at the end, very high percentage shot.
Ewing going to the basket. Stacey King had been successful in keeping him away, keeping him outside, but Patrick Ewing with a nice ball fake and did it off the dribble. Knicks lead by 1. Blackman hand-checking Jordan. Blackman Ewing knocked it away, but Jordan with a beautiful spin. Rolando Blackman, the first couple of sequences, has played Jordan very well. The Knicks with the ball and a 1-point lead. Mason and Scott Williams felt that he was shoved aside by Anthony Mason.
Well, Mason had great low post position, and he couldn't decide whether he wanted to come around on the top side or the bottom side. He kept changing side. The feed pass came just at the right moment.
The Knicks by 3. Jordan off the pick. Jordan gets inside. Ewing sweeps for the rebound. Anthony for Blackman for 3. Yes. Rolando Blackman has checked in, and he has put his mark on the second quarter. The Bulls will talk it over.
Back at Madison Square Garden, I talked to the Knicks' Rolando Blackman before the game. He said that his ailing back feels better now than it has in a long time. He told me that he wanted to come out today and hit, and that is exactly what he has done, hitting his first basket and providing an offensive spark for the Knicks. Marvin, Mike.
All right, Hannah, yes, Rolando with a 3-pointer and a 2-pointer for 5 quick points, and has also done a nice job on Michael Jordan.
Yeah, riding up the elevator, entering the building this afternoon, I was with Rolando Blackman, and I asked him if the back was feeling better because of the shot he made against Charlotte. He said, well, that helped a little bit. He said, but, you know, I've been in that situation a lot of times in my career, and I felt very comfortable taking that shot against Charlotte.
You know, it really has paid off for you, Czar, riding up and down the elevator, looking.
It's amazing who you find on elevators.
Tremendous tactic on your part. 6-point Knick lead. It's their biggest lead of the game. Blackman with the steal. As you saw Michael Jordan getting a rest, the one-time Knick Trent Tucker has come on. The Bulls with their 6th turnover. Knicks have turned it over on 9 occasions. Oakley handling against Williams. Smith looking for position, but Pippen from the blind side came up with a steal. And here's Pippen. Yes.
As Scottie Pippen's defensive man cleared across the lane, he never left. He anticipated that pass. He actually cheated on the other side of the rim, more than a step and a half. That's why he was able to come up with the steal.
That ends the 7-0 run by the Knicks, who now lead by 4. Grant stepping out on the press. Mason. Shot clock at 2. Out of 1. Anthony. 5 minutes gone by in this second quarter. Scottie Pippen is now running the offense and does it again. Scottie Pippen in the face of Anthony Mason. So Scottie got off to the slow start, but he has hit his last three. And the Bulls now trail 35-33.
Scottie Pippen used that philosophy. If they can't catch you, then they're not going to be able to get their hands on top of you and hold you. That's why he came right at Mason full speed off the dribble.
Well, Tucker diving for the ball. Came up with it. Here's Pippen. Double team. Anthony knocks it away. Let's play by Greg Anthony. Has a 4-on-2. Mason from Anthony. Knicks 37. The Bulls 33. And Trent Tucker now in the backcourt. Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, and Scott Williams on the Chicago front line. Grant putting moves on Oakley. The Knicks had lost 14 straight to the Bulls before upsetting them in game one of last year's conference semifinals. That game played in Chicago, and the Bulls would love to return the favor here today to strip the Knicks of the home court advantage that they won during the regular season.
Pippen anticipates the pass coming baseline side. He leaves his man, takes off in the transition game, and then coming hard at Mason. Doesn't give him a chance to get his hands on. Elevates, hits the jump shot. Then coming right back again the next time, feeling that he's got that stroke, gets himself going into the game at the offensive end by doing it through transition.
Madison Square Garden. Now, a lot of people know that Phil Jackson is a man with a lot of different interests. You know that he draws plays for the Chicago Bulls, but this year he took it a step further. In Chicago, there's a theater that invites people to write their first play. Well, Phil, it was his turn to write his first play. Phil's is an autobiographical one about a typical morning in the Jackson household.
Knicks lost.
Well, the play got rave reviews, and as you can see, that last line about the Knicks losing got the biggest response, but there were a lot more good lines in the play. Marv?
All right, Ahmad. Phil Jackson, in his fourth year as head coach of the Bulls, native of Montana. He's led the Bulls to 2 straight NBA championships. Offensive foul call to give the ball to Chicago. Michael Jordan is back. Knicks with a 4-point lead. And Blackman with the rebound.
You see the wide open shot, and the reason for it is Jordan is able to take that double team off the pick and roll situation, stretch out the defense by keeping his dribble alive, and then it's a matter of just outnumbering the defense by position.
Charles Smith has hit 3 out of 4. He has 6 points. The Knicks by 6, matching their biggest lead of the game. Williams off the fake. Scott Williams with the baby hook to bring the Bulls within 4. Greg Anthony has played well. 5 assists in the second quarter. Anthony and Blackman in the backcourt. Here's Smith. Smith up front with Oakley and Mason. The Knicks look at the Charles Smith-Scottie Pippen matchup as favorable to them. They feel that Charles, with his lookout on Oakley in the collision with Grant, and Smith called for the foul. They feel with that height advantage, Smith can take advantage of Pippen as you look at the foul called on Smith. Mason and Anthony sit down. Ewing has returned, as has Starks. Jordan dumps it off. Good luck. Oh, and here we go. Oakley and Pippen, jaw to jaw. Oakley felt that Pippen was being aggressive as they were vying for that loose ball.
It actually goes back to the last play when the foul was called and Grant took the basketball and shoved it in Oakley's stomach as he walked away. Oakley then turned to the official and said, how come you didn't call something there? This is just a carryover, that interaction between those 2 players.
Jordan talking to Starks. Jordan fires for three. A three-pointer by Michael Jordan. He has 14. The Knicks 41. The Bulls 38. And the conversation has begun between Starks and Jordan. They were both quiet at the start. Knicks have hit 8 of 10 from the field here in the second quarter. Bulls wanted a foul. Pippen tried to draw. And Smith gets to it. Charles Smith has been very aggressive.
He knew there was a lot of pressure on him coming into this series. People would focus in on the job he did against Scottie Pippen, so he has responded early to the challenge.
Rebounded by Grant. Here's Pippen. Look out. Fouled by Blackman. Trying to prevent the shot. And Scottie came up smiling.
Michael took a little slap in the left side of the face. He then cocks it up, knocks down a three-pointer, just make sure that his face is okay. Pippen going up for the layup. Blackman making sure he doesn't get a good shot attempt.
Came to the Knicks as the top pick in the 1985 draft. That was the inaugural year of the draft lottery when the Knicks got the #1 pick, drafted the cornerstone of this franchise. The draft lottery coming up at halftime. Halftime report. And John Thompson, along with the Dikembe Mutombo of the Denver Nuggets. We've seen quite a bit of John Thompson during the playoffs as he has followed the trail of Alonzo Mourning going up against Patrick Ewing. Scottie Pippen to the line. The Knicks now lead by 2.
A concern about Pippen taking it strong to the basket against the New York defense for fear of those hard fouls. Well, thus far, 0 for 3 on drives, but 3 for 6 on his perimeter game.
Knicks 41, the Bulls 39. 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the first half. Starks with the shot clock running down. Bill Cartwright is back, as is B.J. Armstrong. Here's Armstrong. Starks setting up against Armstrong. Ewing's pass was deflected.
An unusual double team that time from Chicago, something though that they put into their repertoire 2 years back when they played the Lakers in the championship, double teaming a good post player from the baseline rather than from the passer or from the top.
And a loose ball foul is called. Charles Oakley upset as he hit the floor, collects his second foul, and has some words in the direction of the official, Bennett Salvatore.
When you have Mason and Oakley banging bodies, you cannot let them just take their arms and throw the player out of the way. That's what he did that time. Foul was called.
4th team foul committed by the Knicks. Bulls with only 1 as we come up on 2 minutes to go. First half.
2 minutes.
Jordan with the step and the reverse. Rebound Ewing. Patrick Ewing with rebound number 10. Ewing the high man for the Knicks with 15. Michael Jordan leading Chicago with 14. Blackman can't find the shot. Jordan has done a tremendous job on Blackman, who hit his first 2 from the field. They double up on Starks, who pops it. Three-pointer for John Starks. He has 8. The Knicks lead by 5.
About as good a defense as you can play. Chicago did that last trip down, but then that's what makes players great and teams great. The ability to get off a shot and make it when you need it.
Pippen was hit hard. Things beginning to get a bit rough. Mason called for the foul. Mason with his second.
It wasn't that Pippen got thrown to the ground. He's losing his footing right there as Oakley tries to prevent the shot from going up. It's just, of course, natural that he's going to go down. It made it look to some extent that he threw him to the ground. I don't think Oakley intended it.
There was no argument from Phil Jackson, but Phil has been understandably very critical about the Knicks' style. For the most part, a style that took place earlier in the season. Knicks with a lot of late hits, with a lot of hard fouls. They lead the world in terms of flagrant fouls picked up. That department is headed by Charles Oakley, but things did tone down following the melee in Phoenix. Here's Oakley getting inside. And Pippen with the save. Michael Jordan setting up B.J. Armstrong. Armstrong, yes. So the Knicks lead is now 1. And of course, the Bulls look back to the way the Knicks manhandled Scottie Pippen in the playoffs last year. A combination of Xavier McDaniel and Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley, and that hard foul that was given up by John Starks on Pippen. So the question is how he would react. And it counts as a foul. Blackman is called for the foul, and Jordan will go to the line. Well, Pippen has reacted well here in the first half, has not shied away, and has been very aggressive.
Chicago, when it gets itself out in the running game, the transition game, a much more effective basketball team against the Knicks defense. That's what they're trying to do, is up the tempo. The tempo, however, is right where New York wants it, in that mid-40s area going into halftime.
The Bulls have come from behind. They now lead by 2. Off the trap, another steal on Jordan. 2-on-1. Armstrong is fouled. Foul committed by Starks. And the trap beginning to pay dividends.
Changing up where the trap takes place. This time after the ball comes across the half-court line. The late rotation by Michael Jordan. A 2-on-1. Give it up just at the right moment. Armstrong goes to the free throw line with 2 opportunities.
And that, the 9th steal of the first half for Chicago, leading to the foul. That puts Armstrong at the line. Jordan has 3 steals. Pippen has 3. The Bulls with a 3-point lead. Here's Will Perdue for Bill Cartwright. B.J. Armstrong began the season as a starter with John Paxson not fully recovered from the knee surgery. There were grumblings from some teammates which upset B.J., grumblings concerning his play. Then he was used coming off the bench, but eventually was inserted back into a starter's role, and he's played very well.
You mentioned that was a 9th steal for Chicago. They were 5th overall in the NBA this year in steals, averaging about 9.5 for a game. So here they have 9 already in the first half.
Mason with the rebound. Mason was fouled. He was held by Scott Williams. A 9-0 run by the Bulls, giving them a 4-point lead with 2 and 8/10 seconds to go in this first half, and a 20-second timeout has been called. Well, you look at the Knicks' defensive play throughout the playoffs as compared to the regular season. They allowed only 95 points per game during the regular season. But look at the playoff breakdown. They've given up 101 points against the combination of Indiana and Charlotte. Regular season, opponent shot only 42%. In the playoffs, they have lifted it up, and Pat Riley would like to get back closer to what took place during the course of the regular campaign.
But let's be fair to those statistics. Both teams they played, Indiana and Charlotte, are up-tempo teams. Both went out and pressed and tried to create more shots during the game against the Knicks. You don't play those teams every night in the regular season.
Starks with that last-second shot attempt. So the Bulls with a 48-44 lead at halftime of Game 1 of this best-of-7 Eastern Final. Michael Jordan, 7 of 14, 17 points. Patrick Ewing with 15 in all. Only 2 have come in the second quarter. Bob Costas coming up with a Prudential halftime report. Marv Albert, Mike Fratello, Ahmad Rashad, Hannah Storm, heading to the second half. High point men, Michael Jordan with 17 in his 21 minutes, 7 of 14 from the field. Scottie Pippen with 10 points, hit 3 of 9. And Patrick Ewing, 5 of 9, but only 2 of his 15 came in the second quarter. The Bulls with the ball and a 4-point lead. Jordan and Armstrong in the backcourt. Grant, Cartwright, and Pippen up front. Here is Jordan. Tough angle jump shot by Michael Jordan. And the Bulls now lead by 6. It is their biggest lead of the day.
The willingness of Michael Jordan to move without the basketball and trying to shake a defender, and then the patience of Grant just waiting to get him open and then give him the ball at the right time.
Armstrong was trying to draw the foul. The block by Pippen. Smith with the recovery. Charles Smith, 5 out of 8. 10 points. He has had a solid performance. The Bulls 50. The Knicks 46. Armstrong going to his left and had the baseline closed by Rivers. The shot clock is at 5. Pippen had it knocked away. And it will be Nick Ball.
Sometimes you have to stay with it even after a good defensive play by Scottie Pippen. The piece, the deflection. Charles Smith stays after it. He's not going to let him block the next one.
Rivers able to bring it across against the pressure of Armstrong. Starks. Yes. John Starks presented with very little daylight, but has the quick release, and he's brought the Knicks with him too.
I think a player that New York has to get involved a little more here in the second half as Jordan penetrates and dumps off to Scottie Pippen, and Pippen has a few words to say to Charles Oakley as he walks away. I think Doc Rivers has to become more of a factor in this basketball game. Only 10 minutes in the first half, no points scored, and granted, Greg Anthony did a nice job. He had 6 assists with no turnovers. They need some scoring out of Doc Rivers.
Doc has been an enormous spark in the playoffs, offensively and defensively. The hero of the clinching game 4 in Indiana, 21 points, hitting 4 out of 6 from downtown. That foul committed by Patrick Ewing, putting Scottie Pippen on the line. Ewing has 2. The Bulls 52 and the Knicks 48.
Now, I'm sure that Pat Riley realized, and part of the reason why he only played 10 minutes, that in those 10 minutes of play, he did have 3 turnovers, which helped Chicago get into their transition game and produce some easy scores.
Yes, the Bulls with 9 steals in the first half. Ewing, yes. That may be a delay of game warning. Yes, it is against the Knicks. The ball was knocked away, preventing Chicago from moving down in a hurry. The Knicks have hit their last 3 shots. They closed the second quarter, missing 8 of 9. Smith deflected it, and it will be Chicago ball.
New York coming out with an aggressive attitude here to start the second half, up in the passing lanes, overplaying, stopping Chicago from swinging the ball from side to side in the half-court offense.
Here is Pippen, got a good look. Cartwright, and it's fielded by Oakley. The Knicks trailing by 2. Off the double team, Pippen with the steal is 4th for the game. Armstrong on a pull-up. Yes, and the Bulls lead by 4.
Chicago is right back into extending its defense, pick up the ball a little bit higher, make some things happen as Jordan and Grant try to jump Rivers in the backcourt.
Open shot for Charles Smith. The Bulls 54, the Knicks 52. Chicago trying to become only the 3rd team in NBA history to win 3 in a row. No team has won 3 consecutive titles over the last 26 years. Scottie Pippen has 14. Only the Minneapolis Lakers and the Boston Celtics have won 3 straight championships. The 2 most recent teams to attempt it, the 89 Lakers and the 91 Pistons. Well, a friendly rim for Patrick Ewing. The Bulls 56 and the Knicks 54. Little hand check by Starks. Jordan did not like it, and a foul has been called. That is the second committed by John Starks. Scott Williams checking in for Horace Grant. Let's go to Ahmad Rashad.
All right, Marv, the reason that Horace is coming out, he's really been laboring with that bad ankle that he got kicked on earlier in the game. He had it retaped at halftime, but obviously it's still a little bit stiff. He'll take a seat. Marv?
All right, Ahmad, as B.J. Armstrong hits his second three-pointer of the day. B.J. with 14, the Bulls by 5.
There was another reason besides the bad ankle why Grant came out. It was his man, Charles Smith, that hit that wide-open jump shot before, because Grant went and gambled in the backcourt. Phil Jackson didn't like that. He quickly substituted. He has Grant on the bench along with his coaches, and he has been talking to him, trying to explain what he's supposed to do in his defensive rotation. So this is a little briefing session besides getting that ankle a little bit of rest.
Holding foul on Pippen. Charles Smith will go to the line. Charles Smith acquired from the L.A. Clippers along with Doc Rivers and Bo Kimball and the deal involving Mark Jackson. Charles went through training camp bothered by knee problems, was not in proper shape, at least Pat Riley's shape, and did not play well for long stretches of the season. He came in with the tag of being soft, then came on toward the end of the year, and in the playoffs, as we mentioned earlier, came up strong in the last 2 wins over the Charlotte Hornets, and he's played well here this afternoon.
And as you mentioned, he is a big plus, and there's a loose foul call on Oakley that time, as the rebound took a little bit longer to come down than he anticipated, so he used both arms to try and gain a little bit of advantage. Instead of coming right down, it hangs there, the little shove in the back of Grant. And Oakley not real happy with himself because of it. But going back to Charles Smith, during the regular season against Chicago, he shot 57% from the floor, 90 from the foul line, and averaging over 12.5 points per game. So he's played well against Chicago.
Horace Grant is back on the floor up from the Bill Cartwright. And Scottie Pippen. Pippen to the fadeaway. Scottie Pippen with his 5th field goal. He's 5 out of 12 after the slow start he's come on. Has 16 points. The Bulls by 6. They match their biggest lead of the game. Ewing. Rebound Oakley off the fake. He lost it.
This is a very difficult shot that Scottie Pippen made last trip down the floor. That's fading away over the top of a player that's about 3.5 inches taller, Charles Smith.
The Bulls have hit their last 4 shots. Pippen. Rebound Oakley. We were talking about this earlier with Michael Jordan. He feels the pressure is square on the shoulders of the Knicks, who must win here today, or else they lose the home advantage. That's a foul if they double up on Ewing. And then he said, can you imagine if the Bulls beat the Knicks? Think of the possible panic and pressure on the Knicks for game number 2 here on Tuesday.
Well, that's Michael talking trash, just kind of laying it out there so that someone might hear it in the Knicks locker room and perhaps get a tight elbow as they go up for one of those jump shots. That would be most important. But on that last foul, you saw one of the keys for New York, and that is how well will Patrick Ewing pass out of the double teams down low against this Chicago Bulls defense. It's going to be a big concern throughout the series.
Doc Rivers with a nice move. The Bulls 61, the Knicks 57. For Rivers, his first field goal. The steal by Rivers. Oh, look out. Pippen with a hard foul. Let's see how Jimbo Donald handles it. Of course, Doc at times has won Academy Award honors, and he's all right. Oh, and apparently there were words. Smith and Pippen had words, and Pippen came chasing after Smith.
It starts back when Rivers makes the deflection and the steal and takes off. You never think that anybody's going to have a chance of catching him, but Scottie Pippen came from quite a distance behind to run him down. It's Pippen that throws the pass off the dribble. Rivers looks like he's got clear sailing, but Pippen from way behind catches him, and then it's the momentum which sends Rivers to the ground. He immediately grabs his head as if it hit down on the floor. From behind, Pippen goes for the block. There's no intent there to throw Rivers' body into the ground. It's just 2 great athletes, and the speed and acceleration that causes this.
Looks to be a little act on the part of Doc to draw a flagrant, and then Pippen came racing in the direction of both Smith and Rivers. It looked like the target was Smith, and the officials are talking it over. Let's see how they handle it. Apparently no flagrant being called, and Pippen has to be restrained. We'll be back in a moment.
This is where the incident took place. As Charles Smith walks past Scottie Pippen, he nudges him with an elbow. Pippen doesn't like what happens. A little shove right there because of his teammate hitting the ground. The reaction by Pippen to turn and go after Charles Smith, that's what caused the entire incident. The shove with the left elbow. Pippen turns, realizes, hey, that's the bad guy that hit me. I'm going after him.
The Knicks were looking for a flagrant foul call, but I think the officials who have worked a number of games in which Doc Rivers has been involved, and we say this affectionately, and you know Doc from coaching him over the years with the Atlanta Hawks, he does give it a little extra to try and get the call, and he was trying to give the appearance that he had made contact with his head on the floor and was severely hurt, but as it turns out, he was not. And Rivers to the line. It is a normal personal foul, although there may have been another injury that was suffered by Doc. For a report, let's go to Hannah.
Well, Marv, Doc hits that free throw despite an awfully sore right hand. The fourth finger on his right hand is dislocated. The trainer, Knicks trainer Mike Sanders, taped that finger, and Doc plays on. Marv?
I think Doc was trying to get a small part in one of Phil Jackson's mini plays with that last performance.
The Bulls 61 and the Knicks 59. Well, Doc has certainly been battered injury-wise during the course of this season. The latest was an elbow from Muggsy Bogues. Smith with the steal. That elbow resulting in 3 stitches over the eye. Beautifully done. Ewing for Smith, and the game is tied at 61.
Beautiful touch pass that time from Patrick Ewing in transition to Charles Smith.
6 unanswered points by the Knicks. 6 minutes to go. Third quarter. Game 1 of the best of 7. Game 2 here at the Garden on Tuesday, and then the scene shifts to Chicago. Pippen hits the three-pointer. Scottie Pippen from downtown. 19 for Pippen, who has certainly responded here this afternoon. The Bulls lead by 3.
After that, Pippen made that shot as they ran back down the floor. He just kind of muscled up to Charles Smith, put his chest into him to let him know that he's out there.
Patrick Ewing won't count. A foul committed before the shot attempt. Bill Cartwright called for the foul.
After Pippen hits the 3, he runs back. He's looking at Charles Smith the entire time, and then makes sure that he gets into his defensive position there quickly. A little bit of trash talk afterwards.
Doing a nice job fronting Ewing. Rivers, the tip missed by Oakley. Oakley again. Charles Oakley scrapping for the loose ball has brought the Knicks within 1.
Although he didn't make the shot, you see a much more assertive Glenn Rivers out there for New York in this second half.
Pippen changed his mind, and that pass broken up. The Bulls maintain possession. 13 on the shot clock. Phil Jackson wants a 20-second timeout with 5:03 to go in the third. The Bulls have led by as many as 6. The Knicks, back in the first half, led by as many as 6 points.
A few moments ago, on a steal by Doc Rivers, Scottie Pippen chases him down, and on this particular play, first the concern, was it a flagrant? No, it was not a flagrant. A good no call by the officials as Rivers kind of grabs on to Pippen's arm, but then his head does hit the floor when he goes to the ground. The injury incurred by Rivers was a dislocated fourth finger on the right hand.
And so the aftermath was this. Charles Smith, a little bump at Scottie Pippen, and Pippen did not appreciate it. They have words, and then Pippen went tearing after Smith. The conversation continued, and that was it. The Bulls by 1, 64-63. in the chest of Jordan, who shoots over him. Rebound Oakley. Very tough defense played by John Starks. Now Jordan back reaches in and steals. And a loose ball foul call on Jordan. Second foul committed by Jordan, who was upset by that call made by Bennett Salvatore.
Well, Michael Jordan seemed to be completely out of the play, yet he hustles back, and the concern there is that that left hand may have shoved John Starks out of bounds. I don't think it had anything to do with it. Jordan had possession by that time.
The Bulls are over the limit, so Starks to the line. He is 1 of 2 from the foul line. The Knicks and Bulls are tied at 64. John Starks coming off a strong series against the Charlotte Hornets, averaged 17 points. Named to the NBA's all-defensive second team as selected by the league's 27 head coaches. It has been a sparkling season for John Starks. The Knicks lead by 1. 4:35 to go in the third. Bad pass, and Oakley is able to collar it.
New York's defense right now taking Chicago out of the rhythm of their half-court offense, making them do things they don't normally like to do and sooner than they like to go.
Oh, strong move by Charles Smith. The Knicks lead by 3. 17 for Smith. In the midst of a 12-3 run. Here is Armstrong. Rebound Starks. He was actually battling with his teammate, Patrick Ewing. Ewing sets the pick. They double up on Starks. Starks looking for the 3, changed his mind. And Smith in making the move. Well, that leads to a foul. No, 3-second violation. 3-second call against the Knicks. That fake by Charles Smith led to the call. Oakley got caught in the lane.
We talk about New York's outstanding defense, but let's give credit also to Chicago, who just happened to have the second best defense in the NBA when you look at points that are given up during the regular season. Different types of defense. One physical, one quick and active.
Grant got sandwiched between Smith and Ewing. And Smith picks up the foul, his third.
After setting the screen, the roll man Grant goes to the basket. As we said earlier, New York closes down the path to the basket as well as any team in the league.
An ovation for Charles Smith as he is replaced by Anthony Mason. This is a crowd that has not been kind to Charles Smith, who has had a disappointing regular season, but has come on the last 3 games. And this afternoon has hit 8 of 11 for 17 points. Well, Horace Grant missing both. The Knicks maintain a 3-point lead as we come up on 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Starks, who thought he was fouled. And now the argument that Jordan deflected it short, but it will be Chicago ball.
If Chicago has had an Achilles tendon, it's been from the free throw line the entire season. They're just 22nd in the league, shooting about 73%, and that's just about where they are during this basketball game this afternoon, just over 73% from the foul line.
Shot clock at 5. Jordan on the line driving. John Starks has done an excellent job defensively here in the third against Michael Jordan. The Knicks 9 of 14 from the floor in the third quarter, and the foul is called on Chicago. Timeout has been taken. Grant called for the foul. We'll be back in a moment. Charles Smith of the Knicks. Good matchup between Scottie Pippen and Charles Smith. Smith came to the Knicks in that major deal with the Los Angeles Clippers, and He had a disappointing regular season. We asked Charles, why has it been such a struggle this season?
It was very it was painful mentally. You know, you hear so many comments of, you know, from my friends in the league, you know, what's wrong? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And the media, you can be doing this. It was just so much on the floor that, you know, this game is not, you don't want to think this game. You want to react to this game. And I was just out there thinking all the time where I was supposed to be, what I'm supposed to do, and got to cover the 6'5" guy, got to cover a guard, and, you know, it was a mental trip.
Well, Charles has certainly reacted well this afternoon and a moment ago when he left for Anthony Mason, heard it from the crowd. The Knicks continue to have big problems at the line. Doc Rivers trying to extend that Knicks lead. It's the Knicks 67, the Bulls 64 with 2:33 to go in the third.
They may have been struggling from the foul line. One area they're not struggling is rebounding. We said these are the two best rebounding teams in the league. Well, a 10-1 advantage for New York here in the third quarter. At halftime, they were up 28-16 on the glass. Right now, it's 38-17 off the glass in favor of New York.
And the Knicks in the midst of a 13-3 run the last 4 minutes. Jordan swinging in, went to the left hand, rebounded by Grant, and he pops it out. Bulls have a new 24 to play with. Here's Grant with the open shot. Yes. The Knicks 68 and the Bulls 66. 8 points for Horace Grant. Just under 2 minutes to go in the third. Marv Albert, Mike Fratello, Ahmad Rashad had a storm from the Garden. Patrick Ewing beat his man. Jordan tried to help out but could not. And the Knicks now lead by 4. 21 points for Ewing. Foul committed by Oakley for Charles. That is his fourth.
You think on the pick and roll, Ewing's going to come over and set a screen, but he doesn't. Instead, he comes over and goes right to the basket before he ever gets to the point of setting the screen. The Bulls defense had been trapping the ball when it came off of the screen, but if there's no screen there, there's no one to trap.
And we have seen the Bulls going to the trap using the element of surprise, which has made them so effective against the Knicks over the years. You look back to the regular season meeting Christmas night in Chicago where they took the game away from the Knicks in the third quarter. That, as it turned out, the only win during the regular season by Chicago against the Knicks, who took 3 out of 4. However, in one of those games, Jordan played hurt. One of those games, Jordan missed because of the suspension, the result of his altercation with Reggie Miller. And then, of course, the Bulls say, well, that final game of the regular season had no meaning, although, as we saw, Mike, both clubs played very hard in the finale here at the Garden.
And there's a tremendous amount of respect between both these teams. Now, Trent Tucker just came into the game for Chicago, and in talking with Phil Jackson yesterday, he felt that Tucker was going to be one of the key players in this series against New York for his team, a player that can extend the defense, can make a three-point shot on a regular basis, and who will get after it defensively to help give Michael Jordan a blow.
Foul called on Stacey King. Getting back to the subject of Trent Tucker, he has not shot well to this point in the playoffs. Trent Tucker had asked Bulls general manager Jerry Krause for a tryout during minicamp, was signed as a free agent, originally a #1 draft pick of the Knicks, 6th pick overall by the Knicks, and then spent 9 years with New York, then on to San Antonio and Chicago. The Knicks lead by 4 with 1:22 to go in the third.
Well, they lost their three-point specialist from a year ago, Craig Hodges, and they picked up Trent Tucker for that reason. And Tucker gives them a little bit more. It gives them some size and probably a little more toughness at the defensive end of the floor. So that was a plus, I felt, for Chicago on that move.
Paxson and Tucker now in the backcourt. Michael Jordan sitting down. Pippen, King, Grant up front. Stacey King. Stacey King with his second field goal. He has been effective in the past against the Knicks going post-up, and he did just that.
It's a nice move by Phil Jackson. The one thing they were not doing was getting the ball down low, as Rivers actually shoves the ball into the rim on the attempt to dunk it. So if Chicago wanted to establish a post-up game, King is one of the players that can do that.
And Tucker receiving no room from Starks. Good play by Ewing on the steal. He blocked it, and he came down with it.
One of the points of emphasis in New York's defense is use those hands and arms, get deflections, which cause steals, and give you more possessions in the game.
The Knicks with the ball and a 3-point lead. Ewing stepped out. And the ball goes back to Chicago with 16 seconds remaining in the third. 10 seconds. Pippen now running the team in the absence of Jordan. Down to 5. Here's Pippen with the pull-up. Going glass. And the third quarter has concluded. After 3, the Knicks 72. And the Bulls 69. Charles Smith with 9 of his 17 here in the third. We'll be back after these messages and a word from your local station. Welcome back, Madison Square Garden in New York, 19,763, the usual capacity crowd has turned out. The Knicks with a 28-21 edge in the third quarter. They have a hot hand, 10 of 16 from the field. Bulls shot well, 8 of 16 in the third, and the Knicks lead by 3. It's been close throughout. Knicks at one point led by as many as 6. Same for the Bulls. And here's pressure on the inbounds as this fourth quarter gets underway.
Some of the things that worked well for New York, they got Patrick Ewing back involved in the offense after scoring only 2 points in the second quarter. He had 8 there in the third quarter. They kept their turnovers down. They only had 4 while they forced Chicago into 5, and then they pounded the Bulls on the glass.
Shot clock at 5. Ewing. Michael Jordan is back. Scott Williams with the rebound. And Phil Jackson going with a 3-guard alignment. Jordan, Paxson, and Tucker. Here's King swinging in. A traveling violation. And Riley going with Rivers, Rolando Blackman, and John Stark. So they go 3 guards, along with Patrick Ewing and Anthony Mason. Mason, the key, if the Bulls go to the trap, handles the ball exceptionally well. Rivers beating his man. Oh, Rivers used the pick to beat Paxson off the dribble. And the Knicks lead by 5. Chicago calls for time.
Chicago had been trapping pick and rolls up to that point. For some reason, Scott Williams never left his man that set the screen at the top of the circle. He stayed with his man. Rivers saw the opening and said, this can't be a clean look at the front of the rim.
Kraft presents Genuine Moments.
This Miller moment looks back on Michael Jordan's playoff performance to this point. First round against Atlanta. Hit the half-court shot in the final seconds of the first half. Then against the Cavaliers, he hypnotized the defense with his ball handling. And in game number 4, Michael Jordan with this dramatic last-second shot to sweep Cleveland in 4. In recognition of these moments, Miller Genuine Kraft will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. The Knicks 74, the Bulls 69 with a minute gone by in the fourth quarter. Ewing with the steal, and he is fouled.
John Paxson reached in immediately, took the foul in the backcourt, rather than give up an easy layup to one of the Knicks out in front. The flick, the deflection by the big man, he tries to start the break, but Paxson wisely fouls immediately. And admits it, and owns up to it. And there it is. I know you never were a contestant on concentration, but that means defense. Defense.
Thank you, Czar. Little remedial work by Czar. Starks for 3. It's the Knicks 77, the Bulls 69. It's the biggest lead of the game for either team. The champ of defense. Jordan foul. The basket will not count. Starks collecting his third. Substitutions for the Bulls. Here come Horace Grant, Bill Cartwright, and Scottie Pippen, replacing King, Williams, and Tucker.
Jackson sounding the alarm that, hey, with an 8-point deficit up there for Chicago, I've got to get the main guys back on the floor right away to get ourselves back in this basketball game, or else it could be too late.
And Pippen had it knocked away by Starks. Good play by Starks. The Bulls with 13 on the 24. Jordan going to the left. Rebounded by Ewing. Blackman saving it. Ewing off the spin. Chicago back to the offense. They are down by 8. Pippen got the stab. Good play by Ewing to keep it away. Knicks have a 3-on-2. Rivers spots up. Good recovery by Grant. Blackman could not find the shot and is called for a travel. Nice play by Cartwright that caused the travel.
Jordan, after foot faking 3 or 4 times, gets right where he wants, the front of the rim, but Ewing had rotated over, and just the presence and influence of Patrick Ewing forced Jordan to miss the shot.
9:25 remaining. Fourth quarter. Michael Jordan with only 2 of his 19 points in the second half. Here's Jordan. Yes. Nice move, the fake to the right and the pull-up. He had Starks committed and was able to hit. The Knicks lead is now 6. Rivers played by Paxson. Starks guarded by Pippen. Hits another 3 for John Starks. That's his third from downtown.
I think he caught Scottie Pippen by surprise. He looked down at the floor as if he was going to feed the postman, and never a hesitation, just got it up immediately.
Oh, clean block by Ewing. Cartwright had the step, and Ewing with the rejection. The shot clock. Here's Jordan giving it back. Grant, yes. Horace Grant has 11. The Knicks 80. The Bulls 73. John Starks has the lightning release. Now being guarded by Paxson. Blackman played by Jordan. Ewing lost it, and Cartwright gets to it.
I know this is early in the series, but there is a factor to be concerned about. The amount of times New York goes to Ewing, and in the fourth quarter against this Bulls' outstanding defense, will fatigue be a part of the entire process in the end of Ewing wearing down eventually?
The call is last touch by Chicago. 7:50 remaining. Fourth quarter. The Knicks lead by 7. Shot clock at 10. Paxson guarding Starks. Starks for 3 again. That's his 4th three-pointer. Keep in mind, John Starks set a Knicks team record. He hit 8 3-point field goals against Chicago last March here at the Garden. Jordan came up short. The Knicks, with a 10-point lead, have taken the play away here in the fourth quarter. They double up on Mason, and he gets it outside. Foul call. Michael Jordan called for his third.
John Starks has a very quick release. You may not think he's going to let it go, but it's up and out of his hand, and at times it even looks like it's going to be short. but the strength of John Starks gets it to the front of the rim with terrific range on it.
Mason posting. And a traveling violation. He shuffled his feet. So the Bulls will get it back, but first a timeout called. 6:47 remaining, fourth quarter. The Knicks lead by 10. Well, during the regular season, this Knicks squad went 60-22. They won 15 of the last 17. They took top seed in the Eastern Conference. And Mike, you look back over the last 10 years, 9 times in the last 10 years, the team with the best record advanced to the Eastern Conference final. The last time a team did not make the move from top record to the final was 88 when the Boston Celtics were knocked off, and it was the Detroit Pistons that advanced to the final round.
I do feel it's somewhat premature right now to be dealing with that.
6:45 remaining in the fourth quarter, and the Knicks by 10, 83-73. Here's Jordan. So the Knicks have an 8-point lead. Michael Jordan with 23. Knicks have outscored the Bulls 39-27 in the second half. They double up on Ewing. Blackman for three. And Cartwright had it knocked away. Ewing has been very aggressive defensively. Armstrong is getting set to check back in. Cartwright. And he was blocked. Foul committed by Ewing. That is his third.
Paxson, an excellent passer into the post-up area. If your big men aren't working well down low, well, then this guy's not a bad choice to go to. Michael Jordan with his back to the basket.
Bill Cartwright will shoot a couple. Cartwright, a 74% free throw shooter during the regular season. Back in February, placed on the injured list. He missed 17 games with a sore back, sore knees. And apparently someone stepped in. Lane violation. And Cartwright will get another shot.
You may not step in until the ball is out of his hands. You can see in that low right block area that Mason is in there a little bit too soon. They give him another chance.
And that cost the Knicks a point. They now lead by 6. Here's pressure by the Bulls.
The quickness now of Chicago's defense up extending. You have Grant trying to pressure the basketball. Mason, a key for New York in getting it over the half-court line, but then once he gets it over, he stepped back into the backcourt. Another turnover forced by Chicago's aggressive defense. Mason, excellent ball handler for a power forward, but he steps over half court and then the foot goes into the backcourt. Good call by the official.
And a couple of turnovers committed by Anthony Mason over the last minute. 21 turnovers by the Knicks, 14 committed by Chicago. Here is Jordan. Rebounded by Oakley. 12 rebounds for Charles Oakley. Patrick Ewing with 16. Doc Rivers is back. Rivers and Starks at the guards. Oakley, Mason, Ewing up front. Cartwright stepped away and gave Ewing the outside shot.
Well, he can't come up too close because we saw early in the game that when Ewing faces up and Cartwright comes out to challenge, Ewing puts it on the floor and goes by him. So you have to give him a little bit of room out there if you build Cartwright. The problem is Ewing probably the best big man shooter from the outside facing the basket in the league.
Ewing has 25, 8-point New York lead. Pippen, yes, beautiful move by Pippen. He has 21 points. 4:35 remaining in the game. The Knicks 85 and the Bulls 79. Again, the pressure, this time light pressure shown by Chicago. Ewing setting the pick. Cartwright jumps out, starts for three. 5 of 7 from three-point range. He has 24. The Knicks lead 88-79.
Just when it seemed that Chicago was getting itself back close enough to make a move, that another one of those shots goes in. Phil Jackson almost had a smile when he saw the results of this one. Michael Jordan is right there challenging this shot when he goes up with it, but again, it's the quick release. It's out of his hands before Jordan can get there.
What a spectacular shot by Scottie Pippen. And he was hammered by Anthony Mason, so Pippen will go to the line. He is 6 of 8 from the line. Three-point play for Pippen. The Knicks by 6. Armstrong pressuring the ball. They look to double up on Rivers. 4 minutes remaining in the game. Pippen guarding Mason. Mason trying to do it off the dribble. And he drew the foul. It counts! The basket counts and the foul.
That's why coaches tell players when you commit a foul, make sure he doesn't get the shot off because of the continuation call in the NBA. The strength of Anthony Mason to draw the contact and then still get the shot up. He makes it, goes to the foul line. We had said earlier that Phil Jackson on Stark's shot kind of had an expression on his face like, I can't believe it. Well, there it is again.
Three-point play for Mason. That foul was number 4 on Scottie Pippen. The Knicks 91 and the Bulls 82. Each team with 3 team fouls. Here's Jordan swinging in, and he is fouled. Michael Jordan will go to the line. And that was number 4 committed by John Starks.
This is not only the best player on the team, but it's the best post-up man for Chicago because he can make it happen quickly, and then when he draws double teams and triple teams, he can find open teammates. So maybe continue to send Jordan down low, get in his hands, and see what he develops from there.
Scott Williams returns. B.J. Armstrong sits down. Michael Jordan is 2 of 2 from the line. 25 points for Jordan. The Knicks 91 and the Bulls 84. But Michael Jordan has been held in check at least to this point. Much time remaining. So for Jordan, that is number 4.
One of the new pressure release sets that New York put in practice, starting their guards at half court and then sprinting them back to the basketball. That time Jordan gets him with the leg.
3:20 remaining in the game. Ewing putting the move on Cartwright, changed his mind. Here's Rivers for 3. Knocked out of bounds by Mason. It will be Chicago ball. Phil Jackson trying to get B.J. Armstrong back on the floor, going to an offense-defense shuffle. And now decides to take a timeout.
Chicago had been going with the big backcourt of Jordan and Pippen, now back to the regular team.
Welcome back to Madison Square Garden in New York. The Knicks 91 and the Bulls 84. John Starks has played Michael Jordan to at least a standoff. Actually, he has outshot Jordan 8 of 14, 5 of 7 from three-point range for Starks, and he's done a good defensive job on Jordan. Michael at 10 of 23. Remember, Jordan averaged 32.5 per game during the regular season.
And Mark, as Ahmad just reminded me, the coach's nightmare, the last 3 minutes of a basketball game, which is Michael Jordan time. When they want him to take over, they get it in his hands.
Just under 3 minutes remaining in the fourth. Starks went for the steal. Shot clock at 8. Jordan off the head fake. Ewing came over to help. May have gotten a piece of it.
He certainly did get a piece of it, and that's the rotating pressure defense of New York, challenging every shot, which is an emphasis of Pat Riley. It looks like John Stark may have dislocated that last finger on his left hand, asking his trainer, Mike Sanders, to pull it out. He gets up and tries to deny on the flash post to Michael Jordan. Then on the reverse, as Ewing comes and helps, you can see him holding that left hand where the finger has been dislocated.
Where John Starks has suffered a slight injury. The pinky finger on his left hand was jammed. That's Knicks trainer Mike Saunders popping it out and putting it back in. He's taped up and ready to go. Marv?
All right, Hannah. John Starks suffered a dislocated finger. Final day of the regular season against these same Chicago Bulls, but apparently John is all right. The Knicks 91 and the Bulls 84. Oh, what a play. Jordan slapping it away, and it was last touched by Rivers.
The league leader in steals gets that hand in there, goes off of Doc Rivers' right leg, out of bounds. The official, Bennett Salvatore, right on top of the play.
Michael with his 5th steal of the game. Bulls came into today winners of 9 consecutive playoff games. That goes back to last season. The Knicks have won 25 straight here at home. Regular season and playoffs. Illegal defense call for the 2nd time against the Knicks. So that will spell out a technical foul. 2:20 remaining in this 4th quarter. The Knicks have 3 timeouts remaining, 3 plus a 20. Chicago with 2 left. Jordan converts on the technical.
In case the officials needed some help, he's pointing at the guy that's illegal is right there, John Starks. He is below the foul line, across the front of the rim, and he's not double teaming anybody. That's illegal.
6-point Knick lead. Pippen, strip. Starks for Mason. And the open shot. They double up on Mason, and he lost it. Here comes Jordan. Armstrong. And Pippen has the open 3. Recovered by Armstrong. Just under 2 minutes remaining in the game. The Bulls with the ball, trailing by 6. Now Jordan. Well, Chicago has had its opportunities. That was kicked out by the Bulls.
The quickness, the defense of Chicago produces another turnover. Mason tries to back into Jordan to get some space. Problem is, he loses his balance, throws it right to Bill Cartwright, and Chicago's off again to the offensive end.
Rivers and Jordan battling for position. Jordan with the steal, the save. It's taken by Grant. What a play! And it's tipped home. Tipped home by Scott Williams. Michael Jordan with an extraordinary play on the steal. He was able to save it, and Mason is stripped. But a foul is called.
You think Michael Jordan has no idea where the ball is being passed, but he manages not only to get a piece of it and keep it in bounds, then saves it before it goes back out of bounds to his teammates just to give him an opportunity. Reminds me of the Larry Bird play against Detroit a few years back in the playoffs, which produced the winning basket.
John Starks trying to settle Anthony Mason down. Michael Jordan called for that foul as 5th. So Michael now in a gambling mode. Not a bad move, though. Anthony Mason is not a good free throw shooter at 68% during the season. Knicks lead by 5. Michael Jordan has struggled in the 2nd half. He has done it, though, with his defense. John Starks has done an excellent job defensively against Michael Jordan.
Now Phil Jackson playing offense, defense, sits Scott Williams down, brings back B.J. Armstrong, league's best 3-point shooter, to have another spot-up guy in there. When they go double-team Michael Jordan or Pippen, they want a guy that can float and hit that open shot.
Well, the 68% free throw shooter, Anthony Mason, hits on both. The Knicks lead by 6.
Chicago's got to understand the time on the clock. They can't use up too much time bringing it down the floor.
Foul on Starks, so that is 5 on Starks. Both teams are over the limit. And that is exactly what the Knicks did not want to do. They stop the clock, and they provide Michael Jordan the opportunity to trim that lead as he goes to the line.
You're exactly right, and I thought Scottie Pippen had taken a little bit too much time getting the ball down the floor, trying to get them into their half-court offense, being down 6 points with about a minute and a half remaining, and then they're fortunate that the foul takes place, and fortunate again that Michael Jordan happens to miss the free throw.
And Jordan, an excellent free throw shooter, 84% during the season. The Knicks 93, Chicago 88. They trap Starks in trouble and lost. Oh, recovered by Rivers, and they just did get it across. A break for the Knicks. The Bulls nearly picked it off the trap. Pippen came close to knocking it away. The Knicks using the clock. 5 on the 24. Mason able to free himself up as Grant went for the steal. Rivers and Pippen in each other's face as play just continues. And now a timeout is called. 59 seconds remaining in the fourth. The Knicks lead by 7.
A few moments ago, it was a 5-point game. Chicago was pressing. Pippen had this steal, but Jordan running back actually deflected it, and Rivers was able to come up with the basketball. Then, after great defense with 2 seconds remaining, a terrific feed pass into the post to Mason. In the low right-hand corner, Rivers doesn't like the fact that Pippen knocked him to the ground, so he's got a little bit to say and a little bit of chest bumping to do.
The Knicks 95, the Bulls 88. 59 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Rivers went for the steal. Here's Armstrong. Yes. The Knicks 95, the Bulls 90. Pressure by Chicago. They double up on Starks. And a foul committed by Pippen. Anthony Mason has scored the Knicks' last 7 points. And he will go back to the line.
John Starks almost called a timeout after B.J. Armstrong hit the basket. He looked to the Knicks bench, started to make the gesture as if you want a timeout or not, coach. There was no signal from Pat Riley, so they went ahead, got the ball inbounds. Chicago fouled immediately after the first pass and trap situation to stop the clock.
Mason now 3 of 4 from the line. So Mason missed on both. 45 seconds remaining. 5-point Knick lead. Bulls have 1 timeout remaining. Jordan for 3. Rebound Starks. And now desperation. Defensive play by the Bulls looking for the ball. The Knicks try to play the clock. And the foul given by Armstrong.
When you're down 5, you know you need any combination of a 2-point shot or a 3-point shot. Michael Jordan figures that this might be the best look he gets in this situation, so he goes up with it with just under 40 seconds remaining on the game clock.
The Knicks only 17 of 28 from the foul line. Has hit 4 out of 5. He has 25 points. Starks providing the spark. Once again, he's hit 5 from downtown, and he has outplayed Michael Jordan. Jordan 10 of 26, only 3 of 12 in the second half. The Knicks lead by 6, trying to make it 5 straight wins over the Bulls here at the Garden. Cartwright with the save. He stepped out. It'll be Nick Ball with 16 seconds remaining. Again, pressure. Starks locks it down. Knicks looking to run the clock out. Blackman is fouled by Grant with 8 and 7/10 seconds remaining. And they are on their feet here at Madison Square Garden.
talk about a sense of relief. As you mentioned earlier, Michael Jordan's statements about what if we should happen to win this first game. That man right there, Pat Riley, knowing that they got past those first 2 rounds just to get to this point. Then the next concern, will we give up home court advantage right away? Well, it doesn't look that way in game number 1 for New York.
And the Knicks have certainly turned things around against a Chicago club that they had all kinds of difficulties with. At one point, they lost 14 straight to the Bulls before they came up with that upset in Game 1 in Chicago of last year's conference semifinals. A timeout call by the Bulls. It's their final timeout. The Knicks 98 and the Bulls 90. 8 and 7/10 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. We'll take a break. Back after these words. Well, the Knicks with an 8-point lead on the defending NBA champion Chicago Bulls. Pat Riley about to come up with his 116th playoff victory. Very impressive company. Red Auerbach is number 2 with 99. K.C. Jones with 81, Chuck Daly 73, Billy Cunningham at 66. Pat Riley named this past week the NBA Coach of the Year, the second such award for Pat, who was not able to win it while he was winning championships with the Los Angeles Lakers. The year he is eliminated, he wins Coach of the Year honors as head man of the Lakers, and now wins his second award in his second year as head coach of the New York Knicks.
Pat Riley, the Knicks organization should be commended for what they've done here with Knicks basketball over the past couple seasons, and also to be commended this afternoon, the officials that did Game 1. They controlled this game extremely well, coming in, emotions were very high, some concerns about how physical it would be. They did a very good job, this group.
Final seconds. Here's Armstrong. Rebounded by Armstrong, and that is it. So the Knicks defeat the Bulls in Game 1 of this best of 7. 98-90. Game 2